Hello there. It's time for our story of the week for kids. This one is called The Young Hero and the Horrible Giant. And God's people by this time had a lot of enemies. And the Philistines were the scariest of them all, and now the Philistines had come to fight them. The Philistines had a secret weapon named Goliath. Now Goliath was a terrifying soldier, and worst of all, he was a giant. A giant so strong and so tall and so scary that no one had ever been able to fight him yet and live to tell the tale. So there they were, the Philistines on top of one hill, God's people on the top of another hill. And every day Goliath came out and shouted, "Send your best soldier to fight me. If he wins, we will be your slaves. But if I win, you will be our slaves." No one spoke. No one even moved. "Chickens!" Goliath bellowed. "Your God can't save you. I'll rip off your heads and have you on toast." His beady, greedy eyes glowered at them hungrily from under his horrible helmet, as if any minute he really might just gobble them all up. And he laughed, his terrible laugh. "Ha, ha, 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 ha!" It boomed, echoing horribly around the dry valley. Well, Goliath may very well have just been a green, slimy monster with 3 heads, because God's people froze with fear. Their eyes glazed over, they turned deathly pale. They knew if someone didn't do something quick, if someone didn't save them, then, well, but you know what? God would do something. He would send someone to save them. Now you remember that David was the youngest son of Jesse? Well, his brothers were soldiers in the army, and one day when David brought his brothers their lunches, he saw Goliath, and he saw how scared everyone was. "Don't be afraid," David said. "I'll fight him for you." "You're only a little shepherd boy," the king said, "and Goliath is a great soldier. How will you fight him?" "God will help me," David said. So the king gave David his royal armor to wear, but it was too heavy and too big, and David couldn't even walk. "I won't need this," David said. Instead, David picked out 5 small stones from the stream. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He took a slingshot, and he walked toward Goliath. Step, step, step. Goliath walked toward David. Thud, thud, thud. "You?" Goliath peered down at the small boy. "I am little," David shouted up to him. "But God is great." Goliath laughed, an even terribler laugh than usual. "Ha! Ha! Ha! Ha!" it went. Now, with just one swipe of his giant sword, Goliath could finish the boy, but David kept going. It isn't how strong you are, or how many swords or spears you have that will save you. It is God who saves you. This is God's battle, and God always wins his battle. And David put a stone in his sling, and he swung it around and let it go, and the little stone flew whiz like a bullet through the air and struck Goliath, thud, right between the eyes. And Goliath stopped laughing. He stumbled, he staggered, and crash, he fell down dead. When the Philistines saw that Goliath was dead, they ran away. And when God's people saw them running away, they cheered. God had saved his people. David was a hero. Now, many years later, God would send his people another young hero to fight for them and to save them. But this hero would fight the greatest battle the world has ever known.